That's a whole other discussion. Anyway, what's up, you guys? We are back again. So this week's topic, we decided to talk about homosexuality. And this is because, for me, I feel like it's definitely became something now extremely complex. For me, I thought homosexuality was just something completely easy. It just is what it is. You like the same sex that you like, but now it's a whole bunch of different likes and feelings that have its own labels that make it more complicated to understand. And everybody knows when people don't understand, they lash out in harsh ways. So, what brought this whole thing up? I got a video on Instagram from a friend of mine who actually himself is gay. And he's the more easy gay, at least for me, because he's a guy, he knows he's a guy, and he likes other guys. Like, there's no other things on top of it like I've encountered just recently this weekend. It was a guy who looked like a girl who wanted to be a guy. I'm already in a bar, so like now how do you try to explain or figure this shit out? It doesn't make any sense. So
now he was a guy genetically, biologically, but he wore his hair and he wore his hair as what we would traditionally feel as a female style, and his clothing was what we traditionally would feel as a gay female style of dress.
Real dyke-ish.
So he had a lot of conflicting things going on with his appearance that I just didn't understand. And until recently, after defining some more of the expansion of LGBTQ plus, after expanding my knowledge on it and reading up on it, I see that it's a lot more complex than I ever could have imagined. So I'm gaining a better understanding, and that's what today's topic is about.
Basically, of course, I have I guess you can say, and people are going to say I'm completely negative about the situation. And that's fine, I don't care. At all. Of course, I'm not going to just sit here and bash it on, especially since I don't know it. But at this point, I feel like it's way more complex than it really needs to be. Like, I don't get it. So, the videos that we were seeing, never even got to the videos. The videos that brought this whole topic up, the first one was a guy completely just fierce and was mad.
He was ranting, to be fair is the proper term. He was ranting, he was emotional. Continue.
I don't even care about all that. He was an Instagram personality, whatever them new terms are for them people. And he was upset at the way that some females approach him. And I felt offended. Some others might be offended by what I say. But I was offended because, one, I don't approach people like that. And he took his one little scenario and just went off on black females, basically. And I felt offended because it was like, how dare you? You're struggling with your whole situation, and here's somebody who's actually embracing it or being nice about it, and you offended about how they coming at you.
I took the opposite approach, of course, as always. I completely sided with the young man. So what he was saying was he really didn't appreciate how females come up to him and approach him and try to befriend him. Although Beast here does feel like he shouldn't feel that way because the young lady was being welcoming, trying to bring him into her circle and vice versa.
They're very opening.
I feel like your approach is what matters the most, and that goes with anything in life. So if you see a gay male and you come at him saying, yes, bitch, go queen, or whatever your terminology is, you don't know that that's how he likes to be approached. You don't know that that's the type of slang that he uses. Don't assume that he's gonna be okay with it. And this young man was not okay, and he popped off on her. Rightfully so. I support him.
He generalized her. He made it seem like we all do that.
I support him.
And I don't do that. And that brings up my first con, is because the way that he appears, that would make her want to address him like that. Like, you can't, what did I write? Don't do things that call for attention and then get upset at the attention that you get. You're in full-fledged makeup. Eyes was beyond beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Like, I want those eyes that he had. And you upset because she addressed you the way, in the manner that she did. And then honestly, I feel like with the approach that you got, you automatically knew that she wasn't trying to be offended. So why did you go off in the way, in the manner that you did? Especially when you have access to all these people, rather than just addressing it, saying, don't do that. You got mad and tried to pinpoint on all the issues that we have when it comes to men. Your man's cheating on you. Your hair is busted and your nails is dusty. Like, why?
It was a rant. He was emotional. He was upset. The same thing we all do. If I'm in traffic and somebody cuts me off or they can't stay in their lane, I cuss them out from the inside of my car. This is how it goes. You rant.
That's not. But then here's the thing, and this is what I was saying too. I guess this is another one of my cons. Like, if I was to get back at you with your ranting and say some offensive shit, then I'm a hateful person. I don't like gay people and all this extra stuff. And I'm not going to walk on eggshells because of whatever your situation is and you haven't come to the conclusion of what the hell you really are involved in. Like, that's not fair. So you can come at me in a certain way, and if I come at you in a certain way, I'm the bad guy.
I understand what Beast is saying. I still don't agree. I still feel like, yes, he had great eyebrows. Yes, he had beautiful foundation on his face. He was very, very attractive, very pretty, very well put together. But that still doesn't mean that he's that type of guy. He could very well like to read books. He don't necessarily have to be all into makeup. That just might be something he just do every day, but it don't mean that's like him. You can't go off of what society, television, media has taught us is this is how a man is going to look if he's gay. This is how you react to a gay man. You can't do that. You can't do it.
We're going to have to agree to disagree because it's just crazy to me. You put yourself in that position, you have to be prepared for anything that may come your way. This is what you choose and this is what you're doing. You can't be mad when somebody approaches you a certain way. The only way that we know how to. There's no classes on how to approach somebody that's gay.
That's a society problem. There need to be classes. Let me make you a class. That's not how you talk to somebody. I know.
I'm not wasting my coins on that. That's crazy. You just high and by. Don't look at me high and by. Get out of here. But next video, Beauty sent me on Facebook, and I hated it. Completely hated it.
There was a video going around. It might have been from BuzzFeed. It was kind of popular. Got a lot of views about how gay people see straight people react to them. And it did a small, short vice versa. But basically they were just saying that when you see two females together and they may have a kid, you're like, oh my gosh, who's the mom, who's the dad? So inappropriate. Don't you ever do that in your life.
Very disrespectful.
So inappropriate.
I can agree with that.
So that's what the video was basically going on. But Beast some kind of way didn't like it.
It was just stupid to me because at the end of the day, regardless of when it comes to homosexuality, of course people like to tie in religion and always want to base it on the fact that it's wrong according to the Bible. I am a religious person myself, or I'm not going to say religion, like I have a relationship with God, and at the end of the day, yes, it does say that homosexuality is bad. He hates it. But at the end of the day, he also says you're supposed to love your brother and treat them as you want to be treated as well. So, okay, that's fine. But I'm also human, and I live down here. I'm not up there yet. So at the end of the day, science still comes into play. There's no question who's a female and a man when you see them in a relationship. Like, that's an automatic. We know who the man is and we know who the woman is. And that was something that was in, that was one of the little questions that the gay person asks a heterosexual couple. So who's the guy and who's the girl? That's understandable. But if I see two females, how am I supposed to know in that whole dynamic who's the more dominant one and who's the feminine one? Like, who's the, I can't say weaker, the less dominant one? Like, I genuinely, excuse me, have to ask that. So you have to understand you're doing something that other people don't do. So you have to be ready for questions. Just like a skinny person can ask me, why the fuck are you so fat? And I would have to answer that, because why am I so fat? And there are reasons for that. And it's not just genetics, as some people like to always pinpoint. No, it's because of other things. So I would be mad, because definitely in a certain scenario, I don't know why you would ask me why I'm so fat. Which again, I understand some questions you should not ask a person. What they're doing, how they're doing it, who they're doing it with. That's none of your business. But when it comes to more reasonable things, you can't be offended when somebody genuinely is seeking understanding.
I can be offended. I totally disagree here with Beast. There's no reason for you to ask me or anybody else. There's no reason for you to ask who's the female and who's the male. I would never ask anybody that. Ever. That's not going to pay your rent. That answer is not going to get your light bill paid. Time Warner's not going to cut your shit off just because you asked this person this question. It's none of your business.
But again, it depends on the intimacy level of the conversation. Like, if I'm genuinely talking to a friend.
I mean, this got to be a real true friend. This has got to be like, we grew up and went to high school together friend. Somebody you feel that comfortable trying to gain understanding in a personal setting. Okay.
Right.
But I see people all the time. I see people on Instagram, on Facebook. Oh my gosh, who's the mom and who's the dad? I see it all the time, and it's disgusting.
Really?
It's
like
really
randomly?
It's gross.
That's disrespectful.
It's disgusting.
But again, it all depends on the situation. So I definitely can understand in that aspect of the situation.
And and I also noticed that I forgot. Go ahead. I tried to get it back, but
it'll come back. It'll roll back around on the Rolodex. But as far as the whole situation, I feel also when it comes to homosexuality, I feel like people who have this situation, I can't say you are, but I feel that they definitely separate themselves while they're trying to also be accepted as equals. And
I have to agree and disagree at the same time. So I told you a few minutes ago that I did do a little research and found all of these additional letters that have been added. So it's not just LGBTQ, it's now LGBTQQIAAP and the number 2S. So that's something that you need to go, I would suggest, and go research. It's expanded. It's a lot more complex than it used to be, for sure. But it's a better way for people to identify themselves or their sexual orientation or lack thereof. It's a better way. I feel like, though, if someone came up to me and told me I'm pangender, PANGENDER, I feel like after reading this, I could now understand a little bit better where they're coming from.
I can.
And
I think at this point, it's just like, I'm not willing to.
Don't be so close-minded. I'm sure it's a lot of pangender people that you know
I'm America,
with, but you just don't know that that's what they identify with.
And I feel like that's just too much. Like, as far as I'm concerned, I'm just over it. Like, it should not be this complex. Like, at one point, or not at one point in the beginning of homosexuality, it was just you like the same sex, and we don't know how that works because we're over here just liking, I'm a female so I like a man, and a man is supposed to like a female. So that's why I didn't understand it, because you're a male and you like a male. Now you're a male, you dress like a female, but you could still like females. I don't understand that. And I didn't understand the person that we see in the club. You're a guy, but you're dressing like a girl who wants to be a guy. I don't understand this. And you have to understand, it doesn't make sense. And you can't justify it. My thing is, if you're gay, you're gay. I have no problem of you being gay, because I don't care about what you do behind closed doors, and I especially don't care because you're not paying my rent, my car note, or none of my bills. And I feel like it should just be that. If you like a man, you like a man. If you like a female, you like a female. So what? You're doing all this extra, I don't know what it is that you're doing or what you're trying to do, but what you're doing is really just separating yourself. You're giving all these different categories that cannot be justified, especially when you align it with science, and get mad because people confused about it. That makes no sense to me.
Of course, I feel the opposite way of it. I understand it completely. I take it from a complex and compare it to parallel if I was black. Back in the day, we were only identified as black. And then came along African American. And then people started checking other because they felt like they were Southeastern African American. So it's just
you was making you a nigga. That's it at the end of the day.
Not how it goes. It's just a better way to identify yourself.
It should not be that complicated. And it's only complicated because we always conform to that. We believe what's being put out there. We just grab onto it and we just keep it running. Like, no.
I can only imagine in the real world, two gay guys meet up. One of them, they're discussing, what they like, what they're into, trying to make sure they're compatible. One of them says, I'm a guy, but, I still like women, but I mainly want to date guys. And another one says, well, I'm a guy genetically, but I feel like I'm a female on the inside. I'm trapped in the wrong body, but I still like men and women. So it was really, I'm sure it was really complex to begin with. And that's where all of these little names and territories came into this one community. I understand it. I get it.
I mean, on the surface, I definitely understand, and I can almost agree with the fact that you have to have all these different terms, but then it goes back to the fact that you pick one thing and you run with it. You make it more complicated. You're adding more issues on to the basis of the whole situation. And at the end of the day, it's just still homosexuality.
To you.
It's
to
just
them,
that.
It's probably multi-sexuality.
See, like, here we go with more different things. I promise you next year that's going to be on the list that we just pulled up. No. And like at some point, just like America probably is going to be, I'm cutting it off. I don't care. You gay. So what? Get out my face. And we're not changing it. I'm not going to identify you by this and that and this and that. No, you're just gay. Now keep it moving.
I would identify you. If you're pangender, asexual, you know that we're considered allies. That's what one of the A's is for.
I did not know
allies
that.
Is someone who supports the community, the LGBTQ plus community. You're just an ally.
I don't support the community though.
You do.
It's just homosexuality.
So
I don't support the different acronyms. You're just gay, you're just gay. And please don't get mad at the fact of my feelings or my opinions, because I don't care about your feelings and opinions. I'm not going to pick on you about what you choose to do. I'm just not going to conform to all these different labels and all these different acronyms just to explain the fact that you like the same sex that you are. Do you?
What I would love for our viewers to take away from the beauty, the pros side of it is, and it mainly goes back to the young man who was ranting about how a female approached him. Mm-hmm. Don't use certain type of terminologies. Don't assume that people are gonna you know, be open to whatever you learned on TV. Like, all of those reality TV shows or all the gay men, they're like fashion directors or stylists or something. Everybody's not doing that in the real world. Don't assume. You gotta stop making assumptions in life. Somebody's gonna shoot you. Don't assume.
Definitely don't assume. But at the end of the day, I can definitely agree with Beauty on that one point. And just in general, I understand that homosexuality at the end of the day is something different, and that the world at this point will never seem to understand. And being the fact that I know a lot of people who are homosexuals, I know it can be a difficult thing. And at the end of the day, I want people to understand, just be you. And don't keep it in, because you keep it in, I'm sure it's going to be detrimental to you, and
Absolutely.
It will not be good in the long run.
Absolutely.
So, in my opinion, I don't give a damn about the acronyms. If you're gay, you're gay. And I do definitely encourage you to be gay, because when you just come to the conclusion that you're gay, you'll be free about it, and then you can live life. Peace out, people. Until next time.